My Doctor Said What is a program for health information. Be careful that if you... Hi, this is Dr. Frank with My Doctor Said What, my podcast. Thank you to my 70,000 plus listeners each week. This is episode 33, Holiday Blues. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. All sounds good until you have to meet the family. So sometimes it's a stressful, anxious, sometimes even depressing situation. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll go over some fast facts and go from there. First of all, tick bites. Ticks carry more than just Lyme's disease. They have certain weird viruses with long names, but all you have to remember is they're dirty little insects, and you need to take a picture of one if it plants in you to carefully remove it from the head as close to the skin as you can. Do not squeeze the body. That pushes the contents of the pathogens, the viruses and bacteria into you, so you want to pull it out. Put alcohol or peroxide on it, put it in a bag, seal the bag up, like I say, have a picture. And if you have any problems, especially a red ring, that's the typical Lyme's disease indicator, you got to be treated right away with antibiotics, and it's not a big deal. But if you allow it to fester and become systemic, it can cause all kind of problems. But there's other viruses and bacteria in there that can cause things that cause you to become unable to tolerate eating red meat. There's certain viruses in that, so you need to be careful. And if you have any odd flu-like symptoms or feel bad or have a fever a few days after a tick bite, take that in with you to your healthcare provider, tick itself in the picture, and that will really reduce. Different ticks carry different diseases, but it will help them determine how to treat you more effectively and quickly so that it doesn't become a major issue. You say, well, ticks aren't out this time of year. Well, you can get tick bites anytime depending on your climate, so remember that. Sunscreen, even though if you're a skier, whether you're a water skier and you live in a wonderful place in the winter, or if you're a snow skier, keep that sunscreen on, keep your rash guards on, or your sun protective material. If you get 4 to 5 serious sunburns in your life, that means at least mild blistering, you increase your chance for melanoma, the aggressive, potentially life-threatening skin cancer, by 80%, just by having that few. And if you remember when you're a kid, you probably got blistered a couple times at least. So really reduce that. And it's not just basal cell, squamous cell, Merkel, which is the worst form of melanoma, or melanoma that you can get, but it will age your skin, take away the elastin, and cause it to get that puckered look. You'll get keratosis all over the rough red patches. And you'll get a lot of things that you really don't want that really make you age, because it literally is destroying the cell systems in your skin. So really consider that. I know vanity is to look tan, and if you feel that way, hey, figure out a good non-toxic spray tan or something, tanning solution that works with your pigment. And stay away from the sun itself. Enjoy yourself, but protect yourself. Boosters, COVID boosters, flu boosters, all these vaccinations, RSV, shingles, there's, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm all for vaccines, but you have to be looking at them in moderation. And your immune system is your best defense against pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungi, etc., that cause disease, and they're the ones that are going to fight it if you have an illness. Without a great healthy immune system, you're not protected, and you have a hard time recovering. So good sleep, good diet, keeping your weight under control, and if you're diabetic, making sure your blood sugar is under control during these holiday times and all times will really help you. And wash your hands when you're at these holiday parties. And it's up to you, but to me, if you have individually packaged food or food that people aren't putting their fingers and hands on, that's much safer than those that are touching. Nothing like the guy or the girl that's touching the cookies and everything else to before they eat them. You know, that's transmission directly to you when you eat them of any bacteria, virus, or fungi they have on their hands. And if they've just touched their mouth, God only knows. Now, you can get them, obviously, respiratory viruses and bacteria by breathing droplets from the lungs expelled in air when you exhale, and those are tougher. You got to be 6 feet away at least, and you have to have decent ventilation or be outside, which is even better if you live in a warmer climate. But during holiday gatherings, you certainly can wash your hands regularly and not eat after other people or things that are sitting out a long time. Another thing, food poisoning. You got to watch that. Anything that has dairy in it or fish or some of those things, you definitely want to make sure those don't sit out too long without refrigeration. Nothing like a little case of salmonella to ruin your holiday. So, with that, decongestants. Phenylephrine is not a great decongestant. The FDA has told us that. It's common in a lot of things we've been taking for years and really didn't do anything. Now, pseudoephedrine, which like Sudafed, is really good stuff as far as helping you become less congested, that stuffy head feeling, but it has some side effects. So talk to your healthcare provider, see what they need to do. But if the easy, wonderful way to do that, if it's not too serious, is a good saline wash. They got saline sprays or a neti pot with some saline salt water solution. You can make up warm, not hot. You can flush those sinuses out. Makes a world of difference. Can really create a lot of symptom relief. So talk to your healthcare provider about that. With that, I want to get into the holiday blues. Anxiety and depression are two things that you may not associate with holidays. Your Kwanzaa, your Hanukkah, your Christmas, whatever you celebrate. But for a lot of people, it's a gathering of old friends or family that you don't see on a regular basis that cause a lot of anxiety. For some of you, just a crowd causes anxiety. If you're an anxious person, I'm a big prayer person, whether you call it meditation or deep breathing or whatever, but you have to realize that that is something you're going to have to control. You have control over that. Your response to other people, you have control over. And you may not want to see certain people, and you'll have to get to the root issue of that if it's family or close friends, and talk to them about it and say what's causing you to be anxious. If it's somewhat combative or it's long term, then talk to your therapist about it. Talk to your healthcare provider and your psychologist if you have one, or if you don't, have one recommended. Because anxiety and stress cause all that cortisol, as I've said before, and adrenaline, and all those bad stress hormones and chemicals that can really cause longer-term health issues and short-term health issues like reflux or nausea or, the cold sweats. And a lot of times that drives people to substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, prescription, or illicit drugs. And that is not what you need to get through the holidays. That's only going to make things worse, because when they wear off, it just goes the opposite way. The other thing is depression. Depression happens a lot of times when that anxiety happens over a long period of time and you start feeling those blues. You can have seasonal disorder just by being in the middle of winter and the holidays are over. The other thing is anxiety that can be prolonged is financial anxieties are a big one. 40 million people in the U.S. have anxiety and depression in general that is heightened significantly during the holiday seasons. And deaths of any age people are highest during the holiday seasons. So you've got to really get a grip, so to speak, on that. And I'm not making light of that, but it's something that you need to get ahead of. And if you just can't handle certain things, then you're just going to have to avoid them. And believe you should be social, and we need not to be isolated. If you're isolated, believe me, there's plenty of places, from homeless shelters to charitable functions to feeding the hungry, that would love you to be a volunteer during the holiday season. You could bring some real cheer to people. Even rest homes, caroling, singing, all those things can make a world of difference that not only help those that you're trying to help, but help you. Being involved is important, but being involved with toxic people, you need to either get to the solution, or you have to finally get to the point where if you're talk to your therapist, your minister, or whoever is a good qualified person to vent and get counseling from, you may find that you have to limit your time with those people. And if that's family or good friends, that's a very painful thing, but sometimes you have to be honest with them and say, look, we just have to limit our contact. Hopefully that's not the case. When you open up the credit card bill at the end of December or January, that's a major cause of anxiety for a lot of people. Easy to avoid. Just got to think about that before you overspend. And if you're already overspent, which many of you will be by now, then you got to make a resolution to stop that. Get yourself out of debt. Political, religious, and financial issues are huge causes of anxiety and depression. And all those can come about and be exacerbated during the holidays. So try to get ahead of those. Talk to somebody that can help you. Do not overindulge and have substance abuse. And enjoy the holidays for what they are. Enjoy that time off. And if there's some significant life events such as illness in your family or financial issues, then you need to step back and get some help. And a lot of times your good friends as well as your therapist can help you tremendously during those times. And with that, I ask you to enjoy your holidays this year and have a bright 2024. I thank you for listening to Dr. Frank. My Doctor Says What on my YouTube podcast every Tuesday. It comes out new, but you can listen to it anytime on all major channels. And on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, you can get the little 3-minute blips that kind of go over the major topic. But you don't get all those fast or fun facts. So have a great holiday, and happy holidays to you from Dr. Frank Says What? Remember, send your comments and questions to Dr. Frank at mdswpod@gmail.com.